So without further ado, I'm going to invite on stage for our opening address. How many of you were in GHCI 2019? A few hands. Put your hands together and welcome on stage the president and CEO of AnitaB.org, Brenda Darden Wilkerson. Okay. Also, thank you, Brenda, for wearing the sari. Over to you.
Good morning. How is everybody? Well, welcome. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for being our community. Can you give yourself a round of applause? So it is truly an honor to be here and to welcome you to Grace Hopper Celebration 2024 in India. We call it our GHCI. And today, as we come together, to celebrate the incredible stories and the strides of women who have made it in technology. Let us also reflect on the profound and transformative power of equity, not just as a value, but as a driving force for innovation, growth, and for a more inclusive future. That's what we all represent here. You know, feminism at its core is about creating a world where opportunity knows absolutely no gender. It's about dismantling systems that perpetuate inequality and harnessing the collective strength of all voices to build something better. In India, feminism has always been as diverse and dynamic as the country itself. And gentlemen and allies, you can be feminists too. From the resilience of women from long ago who held significant roles in society to grassroots movements of today that challenge caste and gender discrimination. India's feminist German reminds us of one thing: progress is driven by courage and action. You know, the world of technology is no different. Technology shapes every day and it shapes our future. And its greatest power lies in its ability to solve problems and to open doors. But for technology to reach its full potential, we must ensure that equity is at its foundation. Equity in tech is not just about representation, it's about creating spaces like these where diverse perspectives are valued, systems are inclusive, and solutions meet the needs of all communities. And you know, we are uniquely qualified to do that. Without it and without us, billions of people may remain excluded and innovation itself will suffer. So, as we reflect on how far we've come, we also need to remember that the work is far from over. Despite strides in gender equity, women's representation in tech leadership in India remains alarmingly low. Women still face barriers in education, access, and opportunity. But here's the truth, and remember this: we are stronger together. To create the tech industry that we envision, we must do many of the following. We have to remember that our strength is in numbers. Change is not the work of one person, it is the result of collective action. All of us here represent thousands of lives of people who came before us, who made today possible. We must pull each other up. no matter what position we hold, whether you are an entry level coder or a CEO, you have the power to lift someone up as you rise. It's true. Thank you. We also have to break free of outmoded models of success. We don't need to emulate anyone else's version of achievement. Our authenticity, each and every one of us, that we have is our greatest strength. And lastly, we have to aspire to transformation, not just recognition. I'm going to ask everyone here, and I know it's our habit, but let's stop waiting for permission to lead or for others to validate our worth. Transformation begins when we take the risks that we can take, even when the stakes feel very high. So let me just say this loud and clear. Your identity, your identity is not defined by someone else's reaction to you. Did you hear that? Your identity is not defined by someone else's reaction to you. That's why we have this year's theme as me+we. And it captures that perfectly. It begins with me, understanding who each and every one of us is, the strengths that each of you bring, and the unique value of our lived experiences. Self awareness is therefore critical because it's only when we know ourselves that we can wield the power that we have with purpose. But self awareness alone isn't enough. We must also embrace the we, and that's what today and tomorrow is all about. We is the collective power of a united community. Together, we can challenge the biases baked into the systems, and we can demand some accountability and co create solutions that work for everyone. So here's a question for you. Who are you? What do you stand for? And how will you find and use the unique gifts that you have to advance equity in tech? Because the truth is, and this is important, tech is not neutral. Many people think it is. It's not. It reflects the values of the people who create it. So the algorithms we design, the data we collect, and the products we build, they'll either reinforce inequities or they'll break them down. Equity in tech is a call to action, not just for what we create, but for how we create it. India's history is rich, and I am so excited to be back here, as Shreya said, after 5 years. It's so good to be in the tradition of our community here. And I just want to take a moment to ask everyone to give Shreya and the India team a big round of applause for what they've pulled off here, as well as many members of our community have worked hard so that we can be here today. So, because of the rich history, we stand on the shoulders of those who dared to disrupt the status quo. From the feminist pioneers who fought for education and legal rights to today's leaders advocating for gender equity in STEM, we are women and non binary people in tech. And we are change makers that remind us every day, we have to remind ourselves that progress requires courage. The legacy of those that have come before us remind us that when we need to stop playing it safe and start taking some risks. When we do, we will create ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves. Let me share one of my favorite metaphors. Elephants, among the strongest animals on earth, are often restrained not by chains, but by memory. Tied to a chain as babies, they grow up believing they cannot break free, even when they're strong enough to destroy a forest. So, what change are holding you back? What memory of an outdated system or fears keep you from stepping into your full power? The power of equity in tech lies in the collective strength of voices like yours, all of yours. When women and marginalized communities are given equal seats at the table, the solutions we create are beautiful and they're stronger and they're more inclusive and they're more impactful. So we have to stop leaving talent, creativity, and innovation on the table. Instead, let's build systems that lift everyone because when one of us rises, we all rise. So we have to challenge every assumption that perpetuates inequality. We have to design solutions that address the needs of the most vulnerable. Again, we are most qualified to do that. And we have to demand accountability from the industries and the systems that shape our world. This week, let Grace Hopper Celebration India be your launch pad. Every session, every workshop, every conversation is an opportunity to equip yourself for the work ahead. Now, I encourage you to dream big, ask bold questions, push yourself beyond your comfort zone. I have to do that every day. You know, I'm an introvert. So even standing here is beyond my comfort zone. But I'm here, and so are you. Let's not just envision a more equitable future, let's build it. I want to leave you with this. Transformation is not a single moment, it is a journey. And that journey begins with you every single day. And remember that equity is not a value, it's a strategy. It's how we unlock innovation, it's how we dismantle the barriers before us and create systems that work for everyone. Together, we have the power to reimagine the future, not just in India, but globally. So thank you for being here. Enjoy yourselves, meet everybody, learn everything, and then let's get to work. Thank you.
I'm heaving a sigh. I'm heaving a sigh because it's been a year. It's been a year of bringing this baby back into business. And we're here, and we're not just here to stay, we're here to slay. Yo, that's the energy, okay? And for all those of you who are being backbenchers on this side, I just want to let you know you have now a new term. It's called side benchers. There's a lot of space front and center and to the left of stage. Remember, in life, perspective is beyond what you see. So go a little beyond what you see and occupy the space. Let's take up space. Okay, so when we were planning, my voice is a little bit off because this voice has been doing a lot of activity. But so excuse the uh, excuse the clearing of the throat. I want to say, as we were planning to put this together and as we were planning the opening ceremony, we were thinking of people just like we were speaking about STEAM in terms of the intersectionality of the arts and the sciences and the thinking and the feeling. We were thinking of who we'd like to bring here to share about something that intersects. The intersectionality of not just thought, feeling, but also of being. The intersectionality of what it means to combine multiple areas of life all into one. And that intersectionality is something that our next speaker represents. And Devajyoti Ray is the Additional Director General of Police, Grievances and Human Rights, Karnataka State Police. As part of the State Human Rights Commission, he's also a champion of inclusive growth. Not a lot of people know this, but Devajyoti Ray is also a world renowned pseudo realism artist and uses a lot of interesting color play. And you'll actually see some of his artwork on display because they all represent inclusive art. Without further ado, please put your hands together and welcome Devajyoti Ray on stage. Welcome. Welcome to our stage. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, all the dancers, for uplifting the mood in the morning. It was really good to see you all dance. And first of all, at the very beginning, let me congratulate the incredibly talented team of Brenda Darden Wilkerson and the entire team of Anita B. Org for organizing this beautiful Grace Hopper celebration event, which is focused on the theme of inclusivity and diversity in tech. How do we use this? Okay, let it be, but this is supposed to be shown later. So, um, inclusivity and diversity, these are actually themes very close to my heart. And I had been trying to practice, promote this for the past 25 years, both as a law enforcement officer and also through my art as a visual artist. To me, inclusivity is not something which is just a philosophy, but probably in 21st century, it is also a fundamental requisite for us to survive as a human society. So being here among like-minded people like you all, uh, it is a really humbling experience and a very heartening experience. So thank you, Anita Bjorg, for bringing all of us together under one roof for the next 2 days where we can listen to each other, collaborate, and champion this mission. And a special thank to Ms. Shreya Krishnan, Managing Director of Anita Bjorg India, for inviting me for delivering today's opening remarks. We are today standing at a pivotal moment in history, and the world is undergoing seismic shifts, which is going to change the world over the next few years, so much so that our great grandparents will not be able to recognize this world as it used to be once. Uh, Aging population and declining birth rates in many countries are shifting the demographics, causing huge strain on the healthcare systems and pension systems. At the same time, uh, rapid climate change is bringing extreme weathers, resource crunch, and leading to large-scale human migrations across continents. Now, such rapid change in such a short period of time, as you all understand, can cause huge social and political upheavals, distrust in society, and can lead to even violence. Perhaps we are already seeing some pointers towards that direction. Across the countries, we are seeing people losing trust in their governments. We are seeing people getting alienated by elite interests. We are seeing historical levels of inequalities in societies. Now, in the past, this kind of situations, this kind of rapid changes in short periods of time had caused revolutions, had caused wars, and lots of bloodletting. This time, thanks to AI, this is going to be augmented by new artificial intelligence-based systems. Now, artificial intelligence does have the capability of solving healthcare issues, resource mobilization, and many more. However, if not developed responsibly, they can deepen the social divides, the political crisis, and can further affect the marginalized more disproportionately. So it is very essential that we together work towards making artificial intelligence-based systems more inclusive. But how do we do this? So over the next few minutes, I would like to give you some possible ways by which we can probably make our systems more inclusive. As of today, there is no universal framework to regulate artificial intelligence to bring us solutions to the emerging challenges in the world. We are in a transitional phase today, a time when the old system is no longer able to provide our solutions and the new system has not yet emerged. But this is an important period, an important time when people like all of us matter. In times like this, it is the creators, the thinkers, the innovators, the philosophers who show us the way. History has shown this again and again. In times of crisis, creative voices show us new perspectives, challenge norms, and most importantly, accentuate the voices of those who don't have voices. Let us consider 18th century philosophers like Rousseau and Voltaire, who had coined words like equality, freedom, liberty, fraternity, words which were not in the lexicon of those who used to rule in those days. But today, these words are found in the written constitutions of almost every country in the world. Consider philosophers of 20th century, Albert Einstein, or Pablo Picasso, or George Orwell, whose works have shaped the human rights discourses that we have today, and whose words have changed the way we think about what we call welfare-oriented governance. Now, let me come back to India. We see the same dynamics play in India as well. You all know that in 2024, the government of India has passed a new act, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita, the BNS. The act has completely replaced the old Indian Penal Code of 1860 vintage. Many things are being spoken about the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita. I would speak about only one thing, that this is the first time that an Indian Penal Code has completely omitted the section 377 of Indian Penal Code, which existed for a long period of time, which used to criminalize homosexuality in India. So this act, this particular section is no longer there. In future, generations will not know that once upon a time, every year, 1,200 people used to be arrested and prosecuted to just express their identity. But this tremendous achievement is a tremendous achievement for the LGBTQ community. But this achievement has not happened in just one day. It is the result of the collective effort of thousands and thousands of activists, thinkers, writers, poets, innovators. Let me now, and this is the forum, this is the right forum for me to once again remind you about all those writers, thinkers, philosophers who had once been very active at a time when institutional support was not available to this kind of thinking. So I would like to share about, yeah. Sunil Gupta. How many of you know about Sunil Gupta? Can you raise hands? I can't see even a single hand because very few people know. Yes, there's one person who has shown her hand. Sunil Gupta was an artist who had uh, showcased his photographies on homosexual love. His artworks were mostly ignored in 1976. Mainstream media almost did not cover his exhibitions. But today, his paintings are being cherished, are being auctioned. In 1876, however, he had to do all these things all by himself. Sunil Gupta's anthology came out in 1995 by the Vadhera Art Gallery. We also, Hoshang Merchant, who declared himself as the first gay poet of India, which is a description which I don't agree with. I'm sure he was not the first gay poet in India. There had been many, only that he was the first one to come out. His contribution to this movement was immense. Today, this book is an essential read if you want to know about how the gay community survived once upon a time in India. We know about Ashok Rao Kavi. We all know about him, Humsafar Trust, the organizer of Humsafar Trust, who had also been instrumental in putting the first challenge to Section 377 in the Supreme Court. Ashok Rao Kavi also started the Bombay Dost, India's first gay magazine. Incidentally, in 1999, he had also organized India's first Pride Parade in Kolkata. Shabnam Mosi, a trained Kathak dancer, poet, writer. A film had come later on. She was also the first elected legislative assembly member from the non-binary community. Thereby, she had proved that it is possible actually to responsibly share power with those who are not binary. And one of my favorites, Bhupen Khakkar, and a phenomenal painter, artist, who had been unapologetic about his paintings on homoerotic art. Uh, his exhibitions were vandalized by many groups. Once upon a time, his paintings were destroyed. Some survived and are now auctioned by auction houses in India. Bhupen Khakkar again. So you see, these creative voices had created this collective awareness and empathy and laid the groundwork for eventual legal victories, which led to the decriminalization of homosexuality in India. Across history, we keep seeing this again and again and again, that art has bridged the gap where law has lagged behind. Law is nothing but codified customs and traditions. Customs and traditions change, but law takes time to catch up. And it is in this gap that art has to thrive. Thinkers have to come. Innovators have to come. Let me give you one last example. In 1989, Government of India had enacted the Prevention of Atrocities Act, almost 42 years after India's independence. 42 years. The Constitution of India, of course, bans untouchability, but 42 years, we believe that untouchability has actually gone, but it was still there. It took 42 years before government could finally enact a new law, which was required for removing this social menace. But what was happening in these 42 years? How did the right-thinking people react? What did they do? They spoke through the language of art. So here again, Vijay Tendulkar, 1972. These books came, Shakharam Binder and Ghasiram Kotwal. They have been staged in many countries all across, talking about the practice of untouchability in India, how the lower caste people live in India, how they are exploited regularly. Then we have the phenomenal Satyajit Ray's film Sadgati, which came in 1981, talking about the ruthlessness of untouchable practices in India, which leads to somebody's death, and for which police also doesn't take any action. There are many more examples. Namdeo Dhasal's poetry, or one of my favorites, Ankur, Shyam Benegal's film, which came in 1974. These works and countless others have shaped the inclusive thinking that we see today. But our journey is not yet complete. And those of you here who have come here, people who are right thinking, people like me who believe in inclusivity and diversity, I appeal to you all that we should all work together to make the society even more inclusive. Some people I know are already doing this. Vijay Kumar from Satya Sai Foundation, are you still here? Satya Sai Foundation and Annapurna Trust, they are providing free meals to children, underprivileged children, who are also given free education. Likewise, Practive Group, Saurav Datta and Nancy Goel, they help in raising money through art auctions and channelizing this money to those who are underprivileged. I, on my part, as a law enforcement official, what I do within the ambit of law. But apart from that, also as an artist, I try to talk about the people whom I come across, people who are marginalized, who live in the margins of society, who are almost like us, very much like us, but probably there is only one difference. They don't have the same fate as we have. So these are some of the paintings that I do. Thank you. So thank you all for inviting me to this beautiful community. Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, Shreya, once again for making me a part of this wonderful community, inclusive and who believe in accentuating the voices of those whose voices are not heard often. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I need to say thank you. Thank you so much, Dev. Stay on. A lens that brings in, like I said, the idea of the unseen into the seen, the unheard into the heard, and the unheld into the held. Thank you so much, Dev, for that. We have a token of our appreciation, so it says Dare to Thrive. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay. On that artsy note of when you wear the lens of something interesting, you truly are able to change the way you look at things. In the heart of Bengaluru, in vibrant South India, Soumya represents a new era of reform and forward thinking combined with culture and tradition. Her journey wasn't just about gathering knowledge, but about making a real difference. All through her student days, she worked in community service, nurturing nature and all of its creatures. From the classrooms of New York while getting her master's in energy tech to the bustling streets of Bengaluru, her resolve to empower and uplift grew stronger. A rare combination of intellect and empathy. Long before Samya stepped into the political arena, she tirelessly worked to bridge the gap between education and employment, advocate for women's empowerment, and champion environmental causes. She collaborated with climate activists in Bangalore and developed an innovative method for converting sustainable development models, which helped them look at wet waste and moving that into biogas and biofuel and organic fertilizer. With Better Together, which is the award that they received in Germany, and the Adarsh Vidyarthak Award, which is the best legislator, she not only understands the pulse of her constituents, but also transforms their healthcare, gender justice, and provides jobs and skill development to thousands of youth and women, education and environment sustainability through her dedicated services as an MLA. From upgrading government schools to government hospitals to providing essential aid during the Karnataka and Kerala floods and COVID 19 crisis, her tenure was marked by impactful changes. Samya solved with her head and led with her heart, and I know this of her. She has an incredibly unique leadership trait. I know that she meets people relentlessly in her office who line up every single day, irrespective of whether she's in office or not, doing what she does best, being the best version of herself as a leader who bears the beacon. And she has immense love for the environment. I know this because she also had a completely sustainable wedding. She loves doing things for pets. She's a massive pet lover. So when you bring nature, nurture, leadership, and combine all of that into one woman, this is a testament to Soumya Reddy. Please put your hands together and welcome Soumya Reddy to our stage, everybody. Can we give her a GHCI welcome? Stage is yours. Do you want a handheld or the podium?
A very good morning to all of you. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I, I don't think it was loud enough. Okay, thanks. I thought everyone doesn't have enough caffeine in their system like me, so I really want to thank anitaB.org and, of course, Grace Hopper Celebrations India for making this happen. Can we have a huge round of applause for everyone? Thank you so much for the inspiring words, Brenda. Thank you so much, Shreya, and the whole team. It was lovely listening to you, Dave. It was, um, I was just coming towards the venue and I saw so many young people, so many women, so many um, walking towards the venue. And it just filled my heart with joy. And it was just so nice to see so many people who look like us, isn't it? And I think that's what this event is about. And you know, and I see so many posters around you. I don't know if you have noticed it yet. It says representation matters, you matter. Yes. And I think it's so, so, so important that all of us, each and every one of us, make sure we take the time to celebrate ourselves and celebrate who we are. I think as women, it's so important considering, yes, there is still a patriarchal world. And, I let me just share a little bit about myself. Shreya has shared about thanks for the kind words. I come from a activist background. I grew up protesting and I studied engineering and I was also working as an environmental researcher and then I realized that in politics there are so few women and there are so few young people. We need people who look like us, who have opinions like us, to truly represent us. And that's why I decided to jump into this. And I became the only woman legislator in my city a couple of years ago. Why I'm sharing this is about uh, 10 or 15 years ago, when I just shared this with someone, that person actually laughed because he didn't take it seriously. And it's so important that each and every one of us believes in ourselves, believes in our dreams. And it's just so important to speak up and speak out as well. Let's take charge. Just read that over and over and over again. And I think it's just so important that we take charge of our lives, we take charge of what we're doing. And it's so important for us. And it was so lovely listening. In fact, when Brenda was actually talking, she said, be it whether you're the CEO of the company or if you're at the entry level, let's help others, let's lift each other up, and that's just so important. And I just want to share, how important it is that, the theme of this event is me plus we, the power of community as well, and the impact. Let me just share a small story about this boy who was walking home from school, and this lady saw him, and he was taking these starfish and he was throwing it into the ocean. If any of you have heard of this story of the starfish, and this lady asked him, you know, there are so many of them on this seashore. How many of them are you going to save? He said he just picked up one and then he threw that and then he said, listen, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a difference to all of them, but I made a difference to this one starfish right now. And I think it's so important that each and every one of us makes a difference every single day to people around us. It could be a smile, a hug, and I really want to say that self care is one of the most important things as well. Right when we wake up, I think as women and queer folks, non binary, I think it's so important that, we believe in ourselves every single day, considering, everything that we go through. I, even now, I still face sexism, misogyny, mansplaining like almost every single day. But then, I've been, beaten. I've, they've done a lot of smear campaigns, but then, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think resilience is something that is, we really need to kind of keep pushing our boundaries every single day. I just want all of you, it was so nice to also see that the conference was talking about queer folks and non binary as well. I'm so proud to say that um, I've been one of the organizers of Bangalore Pride since 2010 in my very own city. And I was also a part of New York's 50th year celebrations. And I think it was so nice to, in fact, we have been fighting for, Section C-77 for it to be repealed, what he spoke about earlier as well. But of course, we still have a long way to go. And yes, all of us need to keep pushing and fighting every single day. Every day when I wake up, I um, I actually do something that I want to request all of you to actually, you know, either say it out loud or in your mind. Something I do every single day, even now, is do my morning affirmations. Can we all do that today? Great. I am capable and competent in my job. I'm focused and productive in my tasks. I am a capable and inspirational leader. I am a visionary leader, guiding my team towards new heights of achievement. I am deserving of success and recognition at work. I am a valuable asset to my team and organization. I approach every interaction with kindness and respect. I'm resilient and can bounce back from setbacks and determination. And something else that I also start my morning with is every single day, I ask myself, who do I who do I want to be today? Is the first question. How do I want to feel today? What do I want to give today? What do I want to receive today? And I think it all begins with each and every one of us designing our day and designing our lives and making sure we keep fighting for what we truly deserve. And I really want to thank Anita Dorby, for making this happen because I think we're 50% of the population, we as women, and we really, really, really deserve our place. And I think especially in India, we as be it tech and be it um, pretty much every field, we're actually hitting the glass ceiling. And it's so important that we continue to fight for everything that matters to us and what we truly deserve. Because why? Because representation matters and we matter, you matter. There's a huge sign that says that's here and over there outside as well. And there's another one that says the world is brighter because you're in it. Your grit is your superpower. And that's so true. You know, like I said earlier, I grew up protesting. I'm extremely passionate about speaking up. Any injustice around me, I would make sure I speak up, be it animal rights, women's rights, children's rights, queer rights, LGBT rights. And And why is because if we don't speak up, we're a part of, the perpetrator. And I request each and every one of you to do that as well, because it's so important that we speak up. We're on the side of justice. We're on the side of equity. And I also want to say that each and every one of you discover what makes you unique, what makes you odd, what makes you special, and celebrate that because that's who you are. And let's pursue that. And the power of community, I still very vividly remember a couple of years ago during the pandemic, we were just, I don't think any of us really uh, imagined what we're going through during the pandemic. And I still very vividly remember being a legislator and being in opposition, I just felt so helpless. There weren't enough beds, there wasn't enough medicine, there wasn't food for people. And then I just realized that let me use technology. And I just tweeted at 5 in the morning about 20 tweets. And that's what really happened. And long story short, everyone came together to help people, be it find, you know, um, beds for people, be it food, and I think that's what the power of community represents. And I think that's just so important that we make a difference to people every single day. And like I was saying earlier, let's celebrate who we are. You all see this hand, each and every finger. Is it is it the same? No, it's different size. And but it's so important because and it's so important that we celebrate who we are because we're unique. It was so nice to see, women. We come from different places. I was seeing women in jeans. I was seeing women in salwar. I saw them in saris, in different shapes, in different, some of them young, some of them a little older. And I think the most important thing is that you're here today. And so let's make the most of this wonderful event. And I also want to say that I'm very proud to also say that the Bangalore Tech Summit is happening as we speak since 2 days. And the Karnataka government plans to attract 3 billion people. And I'm also very proud to say that we're also being inclusive um, for women and non binary and queer folks as well. Having said that, please reach out to me if you need anything. And thank you so much for making this amazing event possible and coming up and celebrating who you are. Can we have a huge round of applause for the person sitting in your chair? Thank you. Thank you, everyone, again.
That's what you get when you combine all of that into one person. We do want to say that when inspiration is sought often, we're looking for it far away. When you bring it closer home, you realize it is somebody who you can see, hear, and also feel in terms of representation. Thank you for being a representative for all of us and for doing the work that you do. Boys, Soumya, thank you. It's center stage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The bag also has a story. We all made it happen. Thank you. Thank you. When people show up for you in one phone call, that's when you know that you have their support. So thank you, Samya. Thank you. So I have a little story to tell. I was not supposed to be doing this, but my dear friend Suresh Ramdas unfortunately had a last minute emergency. So guess what I'm doing? I'm filling his shoes. So I'm going to now announce myself because this is time for the opening address. So I'm switching gears and I want to share with all of you a few things that we have locked up in store today. For all those of you hungry birds who are up there at the counters, if my voice can reach you, this is for all of you too. How's the mood? I didn't say Josh. Okay, how's the Josh? Fine, sir? Or fine? Time to redefine our gendered language as well, right? So when you see all of the things that you see around you, many of them are quotes by people, they're from books. Many of them are about the thoughts that we want to carry through and forth from here on forward. I want to share the fact that I'm tired. I'm tired of waiting for something to happen. I'm tired of people telling me this is going to take time. We don't have patience to wait 200 years plus for pay parity and equity. We don't have time, energy, effort to deal with people's ideas of gender. What we have is ourselves, our voices, and the here and now. And we're here to amplify that. So, as we come to the end of the closing ceremony, I have a few things to share about what we have next on stage. We have the CEO panel that's coming up. And post that, we also have all of the tracks, the 6 deep learning tracks. Which one are you most excited by? Okay, everybody is either hungry or there's no caffeine or the side benchers are lost in their own world. Everything. I hope you get to experience everything. As I look around this room, I don't see techies. I see change makers. I see future leaders. I see innovators. I see entrepreneurs. We're not here for just another tech conference. We're here to drive meaningful change, and we're going to do this together for women, for non binary people in tech, adjacent to tech, and impacted by technology. That is us laying the foundation for the future. This year's theme, me+we, a lot of us have spoken about it, is a roadmap that reminds us of how important all of our contributions are in driving that change. We can only elevate ourselves when we uplift those around us. Soumya spoke about it, Brenda spoke about it, they've referred to it. And that is when real change happens. In our careers, I'm sure all of us have faced moments where we've wished someone spoke up and stood up for us. Well, it's time to be those people. Make a difference, not just for yourself, but for somebody else in the room. Call a name out in a space that would actually fuel their future. Together, we have the power to redefine how women and non binary people are treated in the tech industry. And I love this line which says, sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you. Grace Hopper Celebration India is here to help transform careers, but it's more than just keynotes and sessions. So use it as a platform to build lifelong connections. You will know when you see friends from here many, many years from now. The stories we hear every day of both the Grace Hopper celebration in the US and here of careers, of jobs, of connections, of networks, so rich, and the storytelling so powerful. Start figuring out if you want to be a mentor, get a sponsor. Shape those groundbreaking ideas. I'm hoping that you'll find like minded people to network with and talk to and build those ideas through. Over these 2 days, I challenge you to break out of your comfort zone. I love Deandra's line which says courage over comfort. And that's magical because when you have courage, the comfort zone will start getting boring, and that's when interesting things happen. And it's not easy, right? Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the presence of courage despite that fear. And that will fuel you. Let it fuel your stories. Maya Angelou said, we all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of that tapestry are equal in value. Let's take note of that while we're building this community together. Today, as we lay down the groundwork for the change that we want to see, let us make these 2 days count. I want us to look back here 1 year from now, sitting in the next year, envisioning what this was like, and realize that this was the moment when we decided to redefine our future and what it means to be a leader in technology. Everyone here is a leader, and with the potential of that kind of leadership, imagine the world that we will build. To the few men in the room, thank you for showing up as allies. This is how we feel in most conferences at most times. Let me walk you through what we have planned for day one. We'll explore the urgency of collective action. We have Sindhu Gangadharan delivering an opening address. She was supposed to be here, but unfortunately, an emergency took her away. So she's not here in person, but she's been kind enough to send us her opening address, so we will watch that. We also have the incredible CEO panel that's going to discuss the importance and relevance of inclusion, and being a fly on that wall in the pre call had me have goosebumps. So I'm waiting to sit down there in the audience and experience this. There's the AIML track, which is in Hall 2. Like I said, if you have the right apps, make sure you get an idea of the hall and the pathways. Hall 1, Hall 2, Hall 3 in a row. Convention Center to the left. Behind the Convention Center is the lagoon and the amphitheater area. It is fairly simple, fairly plug and play. There are tracks that are covering AI, generative AI, practical use cases. There's the classroom track, the cloud IoT cybersecurity track, the exec track, and the innovation showcase lounge. Also, make sure to catch the media track. A lot of the plenary sessions, which will happen here, you'll have to come back for those later in the evening post the tea break. The poster and scholarships track, tech for social good. All of tech should be for social good, but while we wait for it, let's put the spotlight on it. The workshop and the master classes as well. If you have the app downloaded, understand and stay informed about the parallel sessions, receive real time notifications, get ready to learn, to inspire, and also hear a lot of impactful conversations. We will wrap day one on a lighter hearted note, closing act by Karthik Kumar. Immerse yourself in the transformative energy all around us. This is a gathering of intelligent, unique minds, possibilities, and connections, and every idea, perspective, and connection that you forge today will be the building blocks to constructing an equitable future. By the end of today, my hope is that each of you will leave feeling empowered and ready to take those risks and reach those new heights and pave our way to a tech industry that truly reflects the diverse, vibrant world that we live in. To our sponsors, partners, and everyone who has contributed to making this event a reality, without your support, none of this would have been possible. So, thank you for your presence and for showing up. Let's dive in, connect, learn, and make today a day that truly makes a difference. Thank you for being here and thank you for championing this change. With that, we'll come back in a second with our opening plenary panel and Sindhu Gangadharan's keynote. Give us a moment.